I'll go ahead and just introduce the club itself, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, Jajin in there, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you're from. My name is Sunny Jane, and I'm one of the moderators at the Global Jane Network. This is a club we actually started about 5 months ago, but we noticed that there's many Janes on Clubhouse, but we didn't have a centralized club to really connect us. And so, since we've created this club, we've hosted over 60 events, over 100 different speakers, and it's been quite an adventure. So, for those that have followed us throughout these last 5 months, I know I personally made many friends and connections through this network, and I hope all of you are able to as well. With that being said, I think we have a incredible event today. We have an incredible panel, which encompasses Sahil, Qatar, and Yashika, and we're going to talk about an important topic today, and it's the topic of gratitude. When I think about gratitude, I think about you know, just reflecting on my life and what I have and being thankful for it, right? And this is kind of like a layman definition, and we're gonna kind of go deeper into it and realize that it isn't just a external thing, that is very internal in nature as well, and it's something that can be practiced. You can be intentional with your gratitude, and the obvious benefits that come with that. Of course, as a collective, we went through a very difficult time over the last 2 years with this pandemic, transitioning back. During this pandemic, some people may have experienced, financial, challenges. Some have maybe experienced health challenges, and I would imagine many of us have experienced social challenges as well, whether it's friendships, in your relationships, and whatnot. And I think it's good to always kind of take a step back and try to reflect on our lives and be grateful for the things that we do have. So once again, really grateful for this conversation and the panel that's going to be speaking soon. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Sahil, and we can do that followed by Qatar and Yashika, and we can introduce ourselves. And because we have a smaller panel today, please feel free to take your time with it. If you want to spend a few minutes to introduce yourself, share a little bit about your life and how you became who you are today. So we'll go ahead and start with Sahil, and we'll follow that by Qatar and Yashika.
That's a deep question, how I became who I am today. But let's start with, well, first, thanks, Sunny, for providing this awesome forum and place to share and learn. Um, I'd like to just let's see. I want to summarize myself, but I consider myself I'm entrepreneurially hungry and soulfully thirsty. Um, Active in my family business, read a lot, hike a lot, and last few years really enjoying meeting all sorts of soulful people and connecting on new wavelengths. Um, I do have the luxury of knowing Yashika and Qatar. They can introduce themselves, but I just fun fact: Yashika has been to Vipassana twice, and she swears by when pregnant women go there, their babies pretty much come out tirthankars or angels. So that's pretty cool. And Qatar is a life coach amongst many things, and literally. I think she has a crystal ball for all sorts of things. So definitely a wealth of information. Um, Myself, gratitude is a topic. To be honest, a year ago, it was just a word to me. Um, it was kind of like peace, joy, happiness, kindness, care. It was just another word. But really, I'd say like 9 months or so ago, or this year, whether it's COVID or just like some shift in thought process, I do feel fortunate to have been able to unlock at least a little bit of the power and potential of the word. Um, it's definitely a practice that I think you can do daily or weekly, but it shifts from a practice into a mindset and a kind of a way of life. Um, I don't know. I kind of felt that gratitude is definitely not permanent. So some days you feel super grateful, some days you feel very ungrateful. But with awareness, when you go in and out of it, you can shift a bit more of life towards it. And the more you live it, like really, the more epic life becomes. Um, I've seen, we all know all sorts of people, but with gratitude, without gratitude, a billionaire can be depressed, right? Like they won't get sleep, they'll be unhealthy. And with gratitude, someone that's also just gone through bankrupt and doesn't have their life together can also be at peace and smile. So if the circumstances are not the cause of it, but really it's a mindset and a feeling, then I really think to take gratitude. you can really appreciate what exists and reduce the power of the things that you don't appreciate. So, just I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail, but just like a small thing, um, me exactly, Sahil, who I am today. You asked the question. So like 10 years ago, I remember. So I lived in New York City, or half LA, half New York. But when a taxi driver honked at me, I would get very irritated and I'd honk back even louder and longer. Right? That was just an immediate impulse, and that made me feel good. But I also, for the rest of the day, just feel a little like that guy. Um, 5 years ago or so, I would do like peaceful disobedience. So if someone honked at me, I would slow down. I'd come to a stop right before the yellow light, and right before it turned red, I would go. So they're left over there, and that would make me feel ha ha ha, I got you, you know. But and literally 2 weeks ago, the same thing happened, and I thought this was something I was reflecting on. And once again, I was honked at, and I just pulled over to the side. I let them pass, and I said out loud, like I opened the window, but obviously they couldn't hear me, and I just whispered like, "I hope whatever you're late for or whatever hardship you're having, your day gets better." And I really meant it. But with that, I wasn't disturbed or irritated. I just went around my way, and I don't know. It just kind of shifted. Such a small example, but like this, there's many things that we would encounter between relationships, work, friends, your own self, and I really think that it has a magnitude of power even within Jainism, although I just know bits and pieces of it, but even when we say Namo Yantaram, Namo Siddharam, Namo Ayaram, Namo means to bow down, and when we bow down, we're expressing gratitude, right, to the virtues that's symbolized. And even when we say Michami Dukram and ask for forgiveness, it's a word, but I do feel we can truly forgive someone if we have gratitude towards them and if we're grateful to them. And if we're not, then Michami Dukram and it still stays just a word, at least to me. So, yeah, that's my quick bit about myself and what gratitude means to me. But does someone else want to jump in? Qatar?
Sure. Thank you, Sahil. Um, I love what you shared and especially the depth of it. For me, so I'll just introduce myself quickly and I'll share my connection to gratitude. Um, so for myself, I incorporate gratitude in everything that I do. And as Sahil said, I'm a conscious living and leadership coach. And what that means is that I really support people to step into their self leadership and for a better world. My my specialty is working with life purpose and really working on making ourselves better and through that making the world a better place. And it comes from my own life experience. I've been at times in places where it was extremely difficult to feel grateful for everything. Um, I come from a pretty privileged background, and I found myself in some situations that I never thought were even possible. And I had lost, I would say, honestly, all hope and also all gratitude. And when I was stepping into my own patterns and really recognizing what wasn't working in my life, why it wasn't working, things like health issues riddled with anxiety, things like my career that wasn't resonating for me at all. So, some pretty big things that I've had to deal with. One of the first things that helped me start to shift in times of, at times, deep despair was gratitude. And it didn't just happen randomly. It's something that I had to work on. And it's something that I always ask my clients to bring into their lives, a practice of gratitude. And I'm excited that today we'll be talking a little bit more about what is true gratitude? Like, how do you truly, authentically bring gratitude into your life? And how it actually can shift our perspective. Like our brain literally changes when we focus on gratitude. And we don't just have to be sort of a victim of what's happening in our lives, either our circumstances or how we feel internally. Um, and so when we put our minds consciously to practicing gratitude, it literally shifts our perspective. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm super grateful for the invitation to be here, and I'm looking forward to sharing more about it together. And I'll pass it over to Yashika.
And thank you, Sahil and Sunny, for inviting me on this platform. So I'm tuning in from Mumbai, my hometown. A little bit about myself. I have lived and studied in many places over the years, including Missouri, Dubai, Montreux, Boston. And coming from, I mean, having 38 years of living in so many places, obviously we've been through a lot. And I think growing up, I somehow have always attracted lifestyle choice books. And I think about 15 years or so, I think when The Secret had come out, that was when I first read it, and I resonated with it a lot. And which is why I think bought about 10, 15 copies, and I gave it to all my close people. And I'm like, this book is a miracle. You can get whatever you want in life. And being grateful is a big part of The Secret. So I think for me, my journey of being grateful really started over there. And now I've been married 10 years. I live in a joint family in India, and I'm a mother to 3 children. So again, there are very different dynamics to when I first started this journey. I was invited by Sahil, I think, to speak on this platform, mainly because I live my life on 3 mantras. The first one being nothing is permanent, which is something I learned in Vipassana, and I will elaborate more on later. Second one is giving 100% to whatever you do. And the third one being a grateful heart is a magnet for all miracles. So to me, gratitude truly is a feeling. It is a feeling that can completely change your temperament and your attitude towards your current situation or towards someone. You just need to hold, just if you're in that anger moment or if you're upset at that moment, you just need to take two steps back, shut your eyes, and just think of all the other positive things which are happening in your life. And I will again elaborate more on this later. But this is my little introduction to my love for gratitude. And Sahil, I'll hand it back over to you now.
It's a little introduction for a lot of stuff. So definitely interested in digging deeper into it. Um, but no, thanks everyone. I think one of the things, as we all in different spaces would have practiced gratitude, are aware of it from a different lens. It would be interesting to, at least for ourselves, just share and even convey to whoever's listening from the different types of gratitude and styles of gratitude. And Sunny, feel free to share also. I know that this is like super informal, and we just want to get perspectives. There's everyone has like a different mantras or ways that work, and so more from a less conceptual and more from a personal experience. How do you practice gratitude? It's easier said than done. Some people do it on their own without thinking much, and some really make it a dedicated practice. It's like working out. So yeah, curious for whoever, Yashika, Sunny, Qatar, what's your style of gratitude? I can share mine after, but any of you guys have a style you want to share?
Yeah, and if I could just add one thing as well, and maybe this could be kind of a open-ended question as well. So you're welcome to answer this or go into your styles of gratitude. But oftentimes I've noticed that a lot of us, we tie our success to very extrinsic things, right? So for example, in my personal life, it's like if I get this job, I will be happy now, or if I get this current salary, I'll become happier. And I think we're always chasing something, trying to find, like I guess like a source of happiness. And I think for me, one of the biggest kind of, you know, I guess moments of awakening was, I always thought that if I get this certain salary, right, like just like this range, like that's it, I'll be happy, that'll be it. And, when I had reached it, I realized that I was just as stressed as I was prior to it, right? And I wasn't happier. And something made me realize that, in life, we're always chasing the next thing and we'll never be content if that's the source of your happiness, right? I think, like Yashika said, change is like the only constant in our life. Tomorrow I can lose my job, right? Or tomorrow something can happen to me, and if I'm tying all my happiness to something so extrinsic, like that can't be healthy, or that can't be a good thing for my own life, like for the long term. And so, does any of you all maybe felt that once upon a time, or do you have any thoughts on that in general? Because I think a lot of people in our lives, we do that, especially like, just like considering like the South Asian community, that is how we, determine success, right? And if something doesn't go according to plan, it's hard to be grateful for it as well. So I don't know. Does any of y'all have any thoughts on that?
So, Sunny, my thought on that is, I feel if one is thinking that an X amount of money is going to bring them happiness, I believe that even the journey of reaching that X amount of money should bring you the happiness. Happiness, although is the end goal to everything, whether you are looking for a spouse, whether you're looking for a partner, money, a house, children, end of the day, everything comes down to this is a thing that brings me happiness. So this is my means to happiness. So maybe the journey of getting to the means should also provide you happiness, and you should do it in a way that is bringing you that happiness.
I love that. That you like echoed my thoughts, and those weren't always my thoughts. I wouldn't say I'm 100% there, but maybe 70-30. I used to be very outcome related, whether it's I mean anything. If you're something at work, something at in your life, like when this happens, then great. If it doesn't happen, then work harder, right? Um, and somehow that has shifted. I don't know how and why. Probably the last 5-6 years. Um, and I heard a really good quote from somebody of the, is your glass half full or half empty? And one of the answers was like, I was like, I just remembered it, stuck in my brain, that it doesn't even matter. The fact that you have a glass in the first place, signifying the journey, is that you have something to at least like fill up or drink from or do all sorts of things with. You can fill it with water, you can do coffee, you can put in beer, and even if it breaks, I was like, you technically have your hands to drink with, and all of that kind of makes sense to me. It didn't before. It's part of the journey. If you have a vessel to do the journey with, then if you can enjoy that, then really you're not outcome dependent. You can have a super successful outcome or not what you anticipated, but either of the two places, Yashika, like you said, the journey should be fulfilling and enjoyable. So I mean, I'm on the same page with you. I remember it with this glass analogy because I just can't forget it. I love it.
And Qatar, you had unmuted if you wanted to share anything.
Sure. Thank you, Sunny. So I totally agree. The journey should be enjoyable. And for me personally, it wasn't always the case, to be honest. And I love also bringing attention to it's not always easy to choose. Like the title of our talk today is Choosing Gratitude and the Power for Being Thankful. And there are times in life where, as much as we know that we're pursuing something that's not necessarily fulfilling, we don't quite know how to move to the other side. And what you said earlier, Sunny, I think we're all really conditioned to look for the external milestones of success. Like Yashika, I've also lived in different places in Egypt, in Morocco, South Korea, India, Canada. And I think it's a pretty global concept, although in some places maybe more than others. But we tend to look for the external factors of validation that are our degrees, the people that we're acquainted with, the marriage, the amount of money that we'll make. And we all get to this point in life where we realize, who am I really beyond all of this? Because we get to that place where we think we have it all sometimes, and we're like, well, I thought I would be happy, and now what? The happiness is not there. The degree is there. The money is there. The right car is there, and yet the happiness is not. And one thing I love to ask my clients always is, when they say, like, I just want to have the next promotion, a great question to ask ourselves is, what would it give me if I had that? Because what we're really looking for is what we think we will be able to do with that promotion. And then just sort of go for that direct end goal that you're actually looking for, instead of waiting to have that money or that promotion. So yeah, so I'll just hand it over back to you, Sunny. There's a lot more that we can share later, but I'll just let you.
No, that was incredible. And I was just going to kind of bounce some ideas off of you. But, when we talk about this conditioning of our society, that we're conditioned to think that this is what success is, right? Oftentimes it comes from a place of comparing ourselves with others. And, it may feel hard to be grateful when you're looking at the next person and then you're comparing yourself to them. Is that something that, you come across like in your experience with your clients, or does anyone kind of agree with that statement as well? That sometimes, when it's constructive, in nature, I think it's good, but sometimes when you're comparing yourself to others, it actually makes you feel worse. Is that the case for any?
It's the biggest disease in our society, but there's probably a trick to it also. We're bombarded with there's always someone doing something better, right? From I mean, you get an A minus, you could get A. You make 50K, someone's making 500K. And the way to, I mean, in keeping in mind with the topic of gratitude is, and it's weird, but you also like let your brain also be aware of all the other things where you may have it better, whether it's your health, whether it's if you got an A minus, somebody really got an F and a D and a C and whatnot. And it's just a mindset. If your brain jumps into comparison, with social media, I mean, I don't know, probably there's a big pandemic of bigger than COVID, which is like everyone under the age of say 30, just like in terms of like what you see online, everyone's sharing all the beauty and glory of their life, but really not any of their pains. And I think the reality is everybody, no matter who you are, goes through the triggers of super painful and not enough experiences because there's unlimitless things that you can achieve. So I think if you just remind yourself, and you have to do it consciously, if you just tell yourself like, oh yeah, but this person this person that, I think if you really believe that and have gratefulness and gratitude towards where you are, you will see a lot of things that where you also have it better, and you're not hungry on the street, and you're not, So I would use the power of comparison to actually to our own benefit, and I found that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I agree with Sahil there. I think it's in human nature to compare. So I think one way to start the whole gratitude process would be, obviously, the end goal if you want to make an X amount of money, but you have to look to gratitude for people who don't have as much as you. So you are thankful for what you have in life. Today we can be thankful for something as small as, I mean, we have a shower, we have a bed, we have fresh food that we can eat. A lot of people on this planet don't have that. So there are obviously numerous things for us to be thankful for. And at some point, maybe we can even compare, since we want to compare, to our past. And then you learn that, okay, maybe in the past, I was this weight, and today I am, I'm much fitter, I'm leaner. So I think the compare part could also be used in a more beneficial way, whether it's um, towards our past or people who's who we're better off from.
Yeah. Thank you, Yashika. I think that's really important, and I totally agree with you. Um, for myself, I think the two things that I've become most grateful for in life is having the attitude of radical self-acceptance and self-compassion. And I really think it's when we can do that and start to only compare ourselves to previous versions of ourselves and do the inner work that we can do to be a better version, that we really start to cultivate that true gratitude, because we start to see really what is working in our lives and what are our strengths that we can build more on. And that also really lets us go of that constant comparison game of always comparing ourselves to others.
Qatar, I have a question actually, because you're evolved and trained in this, but you as a life coach and also you're looking to write a book, and does your brain at times jump to, yeah, like comparing even in the professional space that, hey, there's lots of life coaches, this one has this many viewers, or Tony Robbins does this, these books were like, does your mind jump to that, or are you kind of, have you built yourself and worked on yourself where it doesn't do that? I'm just curious, and if it
Yeah.
does do that, what do you do to kind of to normalize?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question, Sahil. First of all, everything I teach is things that I have lived and continue to live. I wouldn't call myself evolved, and I don't know that any of us truly are. I think we're constantly growing in life. We're constantly on this journey of becoming better versions of ourselves. And so, in that lens, I absolutely at times compare myself. And I have a constant also practice of growing through my own edges. And so, I personally have people that I reach out to whenever I get into space of like self doubt or comparison. I have my friends who are trained also as coaches. And I also sometimes work with other coaches to support me to get to my next level. Because I think it's so important to always be growing in who we are. And so I hope that answers the question, Sahil. If it doesn't, please let me know and I can add.
No, it does. It basically says you're human too, and you also face it, but you have a way to navigate yourself back.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Qatar, for that insight. And I love the whole concept of radical self acceptance. I'll just kind of echo that for those that missed that, but I think that's an incredible term, and that may be even a separate room as well, discussing self acceptance and self worth, and how that ties into all these other important topics. One last thought I kind of wanted to just bring up, and then we can go into, Sahil's kind of thoughts on the different styles of gratitude and how we can actually use these techniques. But my final thought, and I'm kind of thinking in terms of how someone that is new to the space would ask these questions. And there's often this idea of this toxic positivity, right? And I'm sure I'm guilty of being overly positive sometimes, and people may look at me and be like, wait, that's not realistic. How could you be so positive when things aren't that positive right now in the world? And sometimes gratitude, I think, falls into that kind of trap, or maybe that kind of idea. And I remember in one of our rooms on Clubhouse, someone had mentioned that just because you're grateful doesn't mean you're happy, or necessarily happy. And so there's it's a different emotion on the spectrum, and it's not the same thing. And sometimes we do conflate it. So even if something like not so great happens to you, you can still be grateful for the experience, despite that. So I thought that was a very interesting kind of thought. Is that Do you have any thoughts about that in general?
So Sahil and I were discussing this a bit yesterday, that we are pretty grateful for negative events too. And I mean, one example that I could give is during this COVID, my someone very close to me was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the initial thoughts were like, obviously, oh my God, how did this happen? But on a brighter note, it was like, okay, we've yeah, you are meant to go through this, so we've caught it at the right time, and it could have been worse, and maybe better now than later. Better now because it's COVID time and your entire family is with you, versus in a regular year, maybe the pressure would have fallen on one or two family members to constantly be there for that person, versus the entire family being 24 hours at home. So I believe that every situation can do there is a lot to be grateful for, whether no matter how bad the situation is. You can always be like, okay, it could have been worse, or um, maybe this is a time, and there are certain things in life that one is meant to go through. So I think with that attitude, you need to take it with a pinch of salt, that life is not a bed of roses, but you can make it a bed of roses by bending the thorns or whatever.
Yeah, thank you, Yashika and Sunny. I'm a little bit allergic to the whole toxic positivity, to be honest, because I've experienced a lot of it, and first towards myself. And for me, being grateful can also be giving myself permission to not be grateful at times. Like going back to the idea of radical self acceptance, for me, it's really about being honest with what my emotions are in the moment. And if I'm not grateful right now, sometimes it's to also drop it and say, okay, right now in this moment, I'm stuck in negativity. And yet, somewhere within me, I know I'm not my circumstance. And in this moment, I'm not positive, I'm not grateful, but I will come out of it.
That's that's so much easier said than done, but is doable. I feel that that I've been on both sides of the equation again, so part of the evolving journey. And Yashika, it was definitely an interesting conversation when we were talking about being grateful for negative events. Um, well, firstly, logically, it feels hard to understand that, especially when the event may be happening. It's also not so simple to just put it to the side and say, "Oh, but I'm grateful for it." And so I think, in every human emotion, there's that thing of, first there's denial, then there's embracing it, acceptance, and then like coming out the other side. So even Qatar, I guess what you're saying is when you're in denial or when you're like not grateful for it or like hate that event or situation, that's also okay, right? That's part of the human experience rather than like saying, oh, wait, what's happening? I'm trying to be grateful or like, uh, and I think that continuation is a pretty interesting space. I had a couple of debates about this like a year and a half ago, and then I kind of regretted that. Why am I debating this stuff? It's all relative. But when COVID just started, um, and literally there's media and news, people dying in the world, and it's real, right? COVID is not a self-created. There's a reality of negativity with it. Um, and I remember I went hiking with a few people, and I just sat and I just stared out onto the rocks, and I just did an out loud meditation of COVID. We are grateful for you. This was in the peak of when it just started. I don't know why, but I just felt something with human dynamics, something that as a species we might be meant to learn, something we are individually supposed to learn, and I just kind of put it out there. Definitely, it's there's so much there, you could say a lot of things against it. That how could you know how many people are dying because of this, and but what I notice is that there's life and death, there's good and bad, that's always happening. And over the course of the year and a half, I really do feel that there's a lot of positivity that comes out from an individual level, self-learning, how you gain strength in certain areas that wasn't a strength, and just learn to accept a few things. So um, this question and topic is definitely near and dear to me. I think it's been the hardest hump of how to be grateful for negative situations, whether it's something to happen to you when you were 5 years old in childhood, whether it's last year something that happened, could be financial, could be with a friend, and yeah, I think it's such a great question and the hardest hump, but when you jump over it, it feels magical.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you, Qatar and Yashiga. That's quite incredible, and that's something I'm probably gonna have to reflect on personally. And actually, a lot of these questions I'm actually relating to my own experiences as well, because I'm sure that there's others in the audience that are have similar questions, or they're trying to figure it out as well, right? Like, what is the difference between positive and gratefulness? And I think a lot of us are exploring these emotions in a very intentional way for the first time. And I think the pandemic has definitely had a part of that process as well. But that being said, I do want to, respect the agenda that Sahil has beautifully created, and I just want to thank you all again for putting all this time into this event as well. And so, I do want to discuss, maybe the different styles of gratitude. What are some techniques or ways that people can learn about gratitude and practice it themselves? And then, that would be followed by a gratitude meditation that will be facilitated by Sahil. I think those that had attended our event 2 weeks ago regarding mental models, you got like a sneak peek of that incredible moment when Sahil just briefly shared with us this gratitude meditation, and I think all of us, felt something in the room, and so hopefully we can kind of recreate that again. And then after that, we'll go ahead and start bringing people onto the stage. This will be something we don't do as often as we wish we would, but we want to make this very interactive, and we'll bring everyone to the stage. And we would love to hear from your thoughts as well. Like, how do you practice gratitude? Or what are you struggling with, right? Is there any questions you have for our panel? So, with that being said, let's go ahead and share a few techniques or ways that someone can practice gratitude, maybe in your personal life or just some techniques in general. One of my great friends, Rima, who's in the audience, she had shared this amazing idea of a gratitude journal, and essentially it's once a day you would write down something you're grateful for, right? And it's almost like a journal. And um, what you can do is you can actually like flip back a year ago, and you can see that last year on this day, this is what I was grateful for, and kind of reflect on that. And so I thought that was a really neat kind of concept overall, the gratitude journal. I think just journaling in general is probably a great way to reflect on your personal experiences that day or that week. But I want to hear from you all. Like, what are your thoughts on styles of gratitude, and perhaps how can someone practice?
So, Sunny, I do this with my daughter every night. Every night we have, before she goes to bed, she'll tell me her best part of the day, her worst part of the day, and something that she's thankful for. And initially, I think the first time that we started it, if she's had a bad day, she would be like, Mom, I don't think I'm thankful for anything today. So I would say, okay. And then I would say a couple of things that, I knew that she could have been thankful for. And I'm thankful that it happened to her. So I'm glad that my daughter, who's 8, she, in her own way, is practicing gratitude every day by thinking about her day and finding a couple of things that she is thankful for. Eventually, I would also want her to journal it down, which is what how I started as well. And I believe even when you journal it down and you think about the best thing that happened today, or the most thankful part of the day, you think about so many events. So you're like, oh, I'm thankful for this and that and that, but you end up choosing just one. However, you have felt gratitude towards those many other things. And if you journal it day by day, you'll notice that you don't want to repeat yourself. So you will end up writing newer things every day that you are thankful for. And I think that's a great way to begin. And you'll realize that really it is just so much to be thankful for in our lives.
I think that's killer, Yashika, that you're teaching it to your kids. All of us right now talking about gratitude, our brains are a lot evolved already, and it's probably one of those things that while your brain is evolving, if you like learn it and appreciate it, it will probably enlighten them in different ways. So that's super cool. I didn't know you did that. Um, I have to thank Shraddha is in the audience, someplace under her husband Sumay. A year ago on my birthday, she gave me a gratitude journal, and I'm not a big writer, and I was like, yeah, great, looks great, but Shraddha, to be honest, I didn't use it for 6 months. But then I started to. So, and journaling is super cool. It helps you actually write down, and it has different styles of what you want to write down. Um, Yashika, Sunny, you guys both mentioned journaling. I've also seen a style of gratitude for me that's worked is literally saying it out loud. You could say it to a friend. You could say it to a family member. I've gone in the woods and talked to a tree. I've done it to a wall in New York City, and all of it is just putting it out in the universe. But I think when you express it, basically, whether it's by voice or by writing, it becomes a bit more real. It's tangible, and I don't know, the strength and the feeling of it gets a bit stronger. Um, yeah, so that's how I do it. I also have like a couple different styles. Sometimes I go inward, like so within my body, what am I grateful for? My blood, my personality, my vibes. Sometimes I'll go external, so whether it's like specific people or situations. Sometimes I go like right now in this moment, what am I grateful for? Sometimes I'll go back in history, like my last 24 hours or like since I was born. But I did find one small thing, which was also from this book. It's called The Gratitude Rock. I actually picked one up in Ireland. It was a trip with friends, like probably 15 years ago, like with college friends, and literally, so I have the back of the rock. It has a great saying on it. It says, "Why worry? Just be grateful." So I just pulled it out. So this is what it says. There's only two things to worry about. Either you're well or you're sick. If you're well, then there's nothing to worry about. And if you're sick, then there's two things to worry about. Either you'll get better or you'll die. If you get better, nothing to worry about. And if you die, you only have two things to worry about, whether you'll go up to heaven or down to hell. And if you go up, once again, nothing to worry about. And if you go down, then you'll be so busy shaking hands with old friends that you have no time to worry. And like when I read that, I picked up that rock. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I've kept it with me for 15 years. And every time I did different gratitude or before a big business meeting or some date, I would literally just like hold that rock. It gave me some invisible strength. And weirdly enough, last year it broke. And for 2 days, I was like, oh my God, 15 years of all this like power that's been emitted, it just shattered. And 2 days later, so it broke into three pieces. I was kind of like, I guess I have three rocks now. So I gave one to a friend that was going through some hardship. I just gave it to them. I was like, this is powerful stuff. I kept one with me, and the third one, I ended up traveling a lot and living remotely. So I kept it in my like travel bag. And it was just crazy of like how something that I was like distraught by, I was just like, it was just ironic. I'm grateful for this now that I have three. So yeah, I don't know. It's been powerful to me. Those are some different techniques that I've used. Qatar, do you have anything to add or so
Yeah,
on this?
sure. Yeah, thank you, Sahil. Just building on what you and Yashika said, I completely resonate with all of that. And I also find that for my daughter, it's super helpful to have a gratitude journal. We also do it. We used to do it actually. We stopped the last month. So this is reminding me to go back and do it again every evening. And one thing that I tell my clients usually about gratitude and building it into their lives is that we often, even when we're being grateful, we're doing it from a mind space. And so for me, what I ask my clients is at the end of the day to have a gratitude journal and to really tune into their hearts first, to give themselves a moment, connect within, tune into their hearts, and write three things that they are grateful for in that day. And it doesn't matter that they are big or small. What matters is that they truly feel grateful for those things. It can be as simple as the smile of a stranger on the street and as big as the biggest promotions of their lives or whatever it is. But what matters is that they authentically feel it. And the other thing that I think is important is to look at least three things because our brain is wired to think of always the opposites and the polarities and see things into the thing and its opposite, good and bad, right and wrong. And making that conscious effort to step into a third thing helps our brain start to create new neural pathways that are wired to look for outside the box. And so for me, those are the two tips that I usually give my clients, really making sure it's felt, not taught gratitude, and making sure that you're thinking of at least three things, not just two.
That was incredible. Thank you all for sharing that. I'll share one more kind of technique that works for me. For those that joined our mental models room a few weeks ago, I keep referring to it, but this is a mental model that helps me a lot when it comes to, a certain experience in life, and it's called the 555 rule. And essentially, what it means, right, is if something happens to you, it could be any kind of experience, right? It could be you fail an exam, right, or anything else. The way you look at it is ask yourself, how does this affect you 5 days from now? Right. And I'll give the example of doing bad on an exam, right? So that's like, very, it's a common thing that we can think about, like, visually. So I fail an exam, I'm feeling awful, or I fail a quiz. 5 days from now, it may affect me, it may affect my life. I'll still feel just as bad. And so then you ask yourself, all right, so how does this affect me 5 months from now, right? And then you think about it, and you're like, all right, maybe 5 months from now, it may not matter as much because there's more quizzes, I can bring my grades up, whatever it may be. And then you ask yourself, how does this affect me 5 years from now? And then suddenly you realize that, wait, this doesn't affect me at all 5 years from now. And it gives you a lot of perspective on how this actually impacts you from a greater scale. And so this like 5 by 5 rule, I've tried to use it in certain situations where I'm feeling really down and it's hard to see any like positive coming out of the situation. But when you give it some perspective that maybe 5 months from now or 5 years from now, this doesn't matter at all, right? It kind of helps me as well. So maybe within the gratitude sphere, it kind of just gives you more perspective on that. But just wanted to share that. And so I guess after that, we can go ahead and go into the gratitude meditation. And so, I'll pass the mic to Sahil. Sahil, if you want to kind of share with us what we should be doing, if we should be sitting down somewhere or what's like the best way to like practice it. And then after that, we'll go ahead and start bringing people onto the stage as well. So, Sahil, the mic is yours.
You could stand on one leg, put your hands up, Punjabi style, and turn on Bhangra. That's one form of meditation. But we're gonna try a different one right now. No, so I just wanted to just preface it with this will be super short, like just a minute or two. The purpose of it is really to tune into frequencies of gratitude, and then really open it up to everybody to just like share what they're grateful for, or like where they might be getting stuck or anything like that. Um, like some research that I'd done 6 months ago, it was gratitude is a emotion. Um, Emotions are broken down into like the word E and motion. It's energy and motion, and like it goes from 0 to 1,000. And things like anger, hurt, shame, fear, guilt. They're all in like the 20, 30, 100 frequency range. 250 is neutral, and gratitude, love, peace, joy. These are up like 350, 400, and 500. So that's a pretty powerful space to be. When you go to 700 plus, like up to 1,000, that's you're enlightened. So whoever in this group reaches like 1,000, please be the speaker next time or whenever you're there, because you can enlighten pretty like the whole world. But what I just thought to do is just I'm gonna put it on mute, but just just stare out to any place, keep your eyes open, and just take like 20 seconds or so to think what you're grateful for. Right. Use the things that different people have shared, whether it's like inward, outward, whatever technique resonates with you, past, present, future, and just think. So you have maybe, as Qatar mentioned, 2 to 3 things that you're grateful for. So I'm just gonna put it on mute. Hopefully you're in a quiet area, and yeah, 20 seconds. Just think what you're grateful for. I'm gonna unmute it. Hopefully everyone got like a couple of thoughts in their mind of what they're grateful for. Um, and uh, and now, just continuing that silence, wanted to dig a little bit deeper. The whole perspective of this is to go as deep within yourself as you can. So this time, close your eyes when you're going into your gratitude space. I'm gonna play a light music in the background. It's called the gratitude frequency. It's at 528 hertz. That's the frequency of that sound that also helps you move into the space of larger gratitude. It's there on YouTube. I mean, you can ask me for the link if it helps. So there'll be music playing. Close your eyes this time, and also if you can take your hand and just put it on your heart. That's the center chakra where your top three and bottom three chakras like meet, and it's known for strengthening your gratitude. So place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and just take 30 seconds to while you're listening to this music. And don't think what you're grateful for this time. Try to just feel it within yourself of what are the things you're grateful for. I just DJ'd this. I slowly made the volume low but anyway, just wanted to kind of end the meditation with that. Um, Hopefully, you're a little bit more within yourself than what you were 2 minutes ago. Um, and I think I would just like to share. I'm gonna do it with my eyes closed. I feel it's more connected. That uh, currently in this moment, I'm grateful for the now. Um, I'm grateful for right here, right now, of exactly how I am. I wouldn't have changed anything of my past to be where I am. I wouldn't change my personality. I wouldn't change my the number of white hairs that are coming in. I feel very much at peace exactly where I am right now. Um, I'm grateful for the coffee that I drank this morning. It gave me a good kickstart. Um, I'm grateful for the people that are still in this room. That means you haven't gotten bored, and there's something here that was somewhat interesting. Um, I'm very grateful, especially to the 3, 4 people that I feel have wronged me in my life between when I was born and now, that I felt very pained by. But I think if it wasn't for them, I would not have evolved. So I'm probably most grateful for them. And yeah, I'm just grateful for the space right now. So that's it from me. I'll pass it to anyone from Qatar, Yashika, Sunny, and Sunny. I know if you want to call people to the stage also to share, express question, then feel free to do that too.
Absolutely. For those in the audience that would like to join us on the stage, and it's very casual in nature. We're a friendly crowd. No one's going to bite. Feel free to join us and share with us maybe a few key takeaways that you've gained from the session, or if you want to share any additional comments, or even just tell us what you're grateful for. We would love to have you on the stage. And to just raise your hand, you can just click the hand icon on the bottom right corner of your screen. And as people start coming up, we Sahil, Qatar, and Yashika, we can continue to speak about, some of our thoughts. And it looks like we have a few people on stage, and so let me go ahead and bring you up. First, want to welcome Rahul and Mridula. And so, Rahul, if you want to introduce yourself briefly, and then share, any comments, and then we'll follow that with Mridula.
Thanks so much, Sunny, and thank you so much, speakers Sahil, Qatar, and Yashika. That was a very enlightening talk and very practical one. So thank you for this platform. Let me first start my gratitude. Actually, I just wanted to share something. I wanted to share an experience and then a question. So the experience is that, and this is not a product endorsement or anything like that. There's a certain band out there that you can place it around your head, and it monitors your brain activity, and it's used for meditation. And I had been trying that band for a while, and it has these 3 zones. One is active, one is neutral, and the other is peace, or calmness. So no matter how hard I tried, I was always in the neutral zone and wasn't spending too much time in my calm zone during my meditation. So I heard this, I have been hearing about gratitude, but I never tried it during that time. And once I thought about actually what got triggered by it is, and it's relevant to this talk as well, is, I was talking to a friend of mine and saying that, the childhood has been so difficult. I'm sure many of us have had that experience. And, where you are in your life is based on, the efforts that you put in, et cetera, et cetera. And then I heard my friend's story, who was saying that, I've had everything. I've had really loving family. I've had basically everything in my life. So when I was in that meditation, I imagined as if I had everything that my friend had. And then I started becoming grateful for what I have in that moment. And there was a smile on my face. And, that piece of gratitude for the first time, let me spend a real good amount in that calm zone that I was able to see afterwards. And it was a life-changing, powerful moment at that point in time. So just even being able to imagine of having all the things that other people may have and you don't, even in that moment, if we can imagine that we have it, can bring us that peace and calm, and at least let us have that moment of solace to move forward. So that was one experience I wanted to share. And then the second question that we have is that me and my wife both are, educationally and professionally somewhat accomplished. Um, um, we basically don't have any kind of liabilities or any kind of responsibilities except towards ourselves. And we were walking one day, just basically yesterday actually, and we were talking to ourselves, and my wife said to me, there is no reason for us not to be happy. Like there's nothing, just as we were talking about earlier about comparison and comparing our accomplishments and what we have compared to others. We were talking about that, and she said there's no reason we shouldn't be happy. And I was wondering why we are not happy. And that point in time, I just made the connection during this call that gratitude is missing in that picture. And the question there is that, we're not happy because while we may be accomplished today, we are worried about the future. We are trying to set up, and majority of the crowd here on this room probably is not as old as I am, but we are at probably the middle point of our lives, and we're trying to plan for the future, and future comes with uncertainties. So I'm wondering if any of the speakers can relate or talk about how get back into the place of gratitude, the unquiet that comes to the mind when one starts thinking about the future. And sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Rahul. I'm in Canada currently, and I've been international, and I'm Jain as well. I've met Sunny on the Vegan Jain group. I'm plant-based as well. And this is me. I'm done talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. This is Qatar, and I'd love to, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing so authentically. And I'll just give my answer and then I'll hand it over to Yashika and Sahil for what they might want to add. But I think from my perspective, there's actually a connection between the two situations that you named. Too often in life, where we have an unconscious movie of what our life has been that is triggering emotions within ourselves, and we're not aware of it. And that movie comes from the unprocessed childhood experiences and the emotions that they've left behind. And so when we find ourselves in our adulthood having everything externally and yet still internally, to some extent, suffering or not feeling in the higher vibrations of joy and peace, there's usually something below the surface. And so what we might need is to actually go dig up those experiences and process them at an emotional level. And then the movie that we start to run, even in the background subconsciously, is a more positive one. And that also allows us to let go of anxiety of the future, because it does come from things from the past as well. So I hope that helps, and I'll hand it over to Yashika and Sahil.
I think you summed it up pretty well, Qatar. Um, yeah, I don't have much to add to that. You've summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, no,
Sahil,
that
over
was
to you.
sorry, Sally. Yeah, if you wanted to add anything.
No, I think that was a great answer. Definitely not. But one thing that I would just about the future. Um, in the past, I used to be stressed out about the future of like what's gonna happen, how am I gonna do this. Um, Somehow I cultivated. Maybe it's from a universal consciousness space. Maybe it's gratitude, but I released control of life. I felt that when you believe that you're in control of your outcomes, you add a sense of pressure to yourself, and that pressure can go either of the two ways. It could be positive motivation, or it could be detrimental. Um, Over time, I really just have faith in the universe and in life that, and maybe a bit of humility that I actually don't control anything. The fact that I'm here right now is because of my parents, because of their parents, how they met, where I was born. Like, there's so many things that go into where you are right now. To think that we're gonna exactly be responsible for our future versus a little bit of just a belief in just like destiny. This wasn't me 10 years ago, but I feel somehow the shift towards believing in the universe and faith in that also largely reduces or eliminates fear of the future, and you can just kind of enjoy the moment that's there.
I love
So
that. Thank you.
to add more to what Sahil said, um, I deeply believe in the same thing, that we should do and engage in whatever is in our control. The outcome is not in our control, and no, and like Sunny had also mentioned, like studying for an exam. and you try your best and you fail, it shouldn't let you down. You've done your 100% of giving it your best. Maybe it was not. Maybe you are meant to do the exam at another time, or maybe there's something else there for you. So I think you cannot rely on the outcome in a way, and kind of just rely again on the journey, right, of doing your 100% at the time. Sunny, go ahead. You were saying something.
No, absolutely. I think that was all great. We'll go ahead and move it to the next. We have a few additional people that want to speak, so we'll just kind of briefly go through each person and then share our thoughts. So I'd like to welcome Radula to the stage. Welcome if you want to introduce yourself and share any key takeaways from our session or any comments, and then we're going to follow that with Maria.
Okay, thank you for inviting me as a speaker. Um, I I'm from a Jain family, a staunch Jain. I'm probably the oldest in this group. I'm a mother and a grandmother. I'm a psychology major and then took a degree in computer science to be in IT field. I've had my share of grief and bad times in my life. There were two things that helped me through my bad times. One was reading a Jain scripture called Tattvat Sutra. It's very heavily based on karma theory, and I really had to embrace it and internalize it in order for me to understand what it was saying and to be able to implement that in my life. One of the things that I liked in Tattvat Sutra was that you are going through your bad times because you have accumulated those bad karmas. But these bad times are giving you an opportunity to get rid of your bad karmas so that good things come your way. So whenever I was in a bad situation, I was thankful for that situation, saying, oh, it's giving me an opportunity to get rid of bad karmas. Tattvat Sutra also says that if you get all flustered up during your bad karmas time, during your bad times, instead of getting rid of bad karmas, you are accumulating more. So that also helped me stay calm. I don't want to take up too much time here, but my mother sent me a poem. It's written in Hindi. It's a beautiful poem. The gist of it is that why are you scared of your bad times? You should embrace it. And you should be thankful to it, because when the bad times go away, what comes? Good times. As you guys said earlier, situations are changing. So that also resonated with me when I was going through my bad time. And the poem says, the bad times will bring a gift of good times. So something that's going to give you a good time, why are you scared of that? Thank you, guys.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Radula, and we appreciate the diversity of perspective, right? And so, don't ever think that you're too young or too old. This global J network's for everyone, right? So, thank you so much for sharing that. And
I just
Sal, did you?
I just wanted to thank Mrudula Auntie. I mean, I think the fact that we have a third generation here sharing life experiences, and I could just hear in your voice, there's just so much appreciation for life. And just really thank you for sharing some of the things that work for you or not. But thanks. Your voice is empowering, just the way you speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I handed over. I had my kids also read this. I found a translation of Tattvat Sutra in English. I have been in United States for the past 50 years. So my kids were born and raised here. So, and they gained a lot from it too, from Tattvat Sutra. If anyone is interested, I can let them know the English translation of it. It has been done by a German scholar. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next, we'll pass the mic to Maria. Maria, welcome to the stage. If you want to introduce yourself and share any key takeaways that you've gained from this conversation or any additional comments, please feel
Hi, Sonny. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Sahil, for letting me know about this conversation. I wasn't sure about showing up and sharing like these thoughts, but yeah, like a little short story. I am a friend of Sahil. I'm in Mexico, and you know, when you ask the question, what I am thankful for, like just in the meditation came through my mind, like how do you say, like years before I was diagnosticated with a sickness, and like at the moment I just forget about the sickness like for a couple of years because I didn't believe it. And suddenly, you know, like last year, it was shocking for me because again the sickness appeared, you know, and also in the middle of the pandemic and the COVID situation was really, really a very stressful year and a very tough year and difficult times. But just make me feel that, and to be honest, I refused to myself like many years, and many times I felt guilty, and I keep repeating into my head like, why is this happening to me, why I have this sickness, or what's going on, like, you know, like so many questions when you think that you're just not normal, you know. And suddenly I just discovered on this journey about a great thing that this sickness or whatever it comes gave me. It is empathy. Empathy. Sorry, I'm just my English, but empathy just gave me the opportunity to to you know, to wear the shoes of other people. And maybe if I wouldn't have been on this situation, I couldn't recognize like pain or other difficulties that humanity embrace. And every time that I have the opportunity to go maybe to a hospital or to see people that is an immigrant, or you know, mothers that are just alone on the journey, or families that are also facing troubles, just make me feel that we all have a purpose, and it's it's great to feel their emotions. And I think I have made a little experiment during this week actually, because once I have heard that if you talk to a plant like good things, the plant will grow like beautiful, and if you tell the plant bad things, the plant will not grow. So I hadn't have a plant here close, but I tried to make the experiment with a glass of water, because also it's thought that has the same effect. So I was like, I hold the glass and I said a lot of, you know, bad things. Normally the bad things that usually are on my mind, like, you know, like just come through and say to the bottle of water. And I couldn't realize, and it was shocking for me, how tough and how hard and how horrible things you keep saying through your mind, and you don't realize it until you say it. So for the next 2 days, I just saw the water like a little bit gray, and like the glass was dark, like um, so yeah, I just stop with that, and just try to be more conscious about that situation. So thanks a lot again for the invitation, and that's all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Maria, for sharing that. I loved how you said that, going through an experience has like taught you empathy. And I know that's like a word that I know it's used a lot more frequently now, but I think it's so important to be able to put yourself in other shoes, right? And being able to not just understand it, but even empathize with other people's, experiences as well. And I think that's part of what makes us human as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. Again, I just want to welcome anyone in the audience to join us on stage. One thing I usually tell people is, when it comes to like stepping out of your comfort zone, it can be a little scary, but it usually always turns out okay. It's almost always an overwhelmingly positive experience. And I think with Clubhouse, there's no way it could go wrong. So if you just even want to just join us on the stage and share what you're grateful for, I think it would be just incredible and therapeutic for the rest of us as well to kind of hear what you're grateful for. I can kind of add, Sahil, during the meditation that you practiced, I think the act of feeling gratitude was such a unknown feeling for me that it almost felt like an untapped emotion. I was like, oh wow, And so and I think Qatar, you had like said this beautifully, but it's not just saying it, but authentically feeling it. And I think today I tried to do that, and I tried visualizing something I was grateful for, and really taking like a moment to authentically feel it. And I was like, wow, I wish I did this more often because that was a incredible feeling for me. So once again, anyone that wants to join us from the audience, please feel free. And also, I know we're a little bit over the hour, so Sal, Qatar, and Yashika, I do want to give you all the opportunity that, if you want to stay longer, we're welcome to stay. But if you have to drop, no worries at all as well. It looks like we have like a humongous room today. Definitely like very large for our club, and really grateful for all of you for being a part of this. And so yeah, just want to give you that option. And I think there's a few hand raises, so I'll bring people up, and we can kind of just continue that way. Qatar, Yashika, and Sahil, are y'all good on time today?
Yeah, no issues.
Yeah, I'm okay for another 10 minutes, Sunny.
Okay,
And
perfect.
Yep, good to go.
Okay, wonderful. Just want to double check with you, of course. And at any time, if you have to drop, just let us know, and we can, of course, say our goodbyes as well. So with that being said, I want to welcome Prasanna and Anuj to the stage. We'll start with Prasanna. Welcome. If you want to introduce yourself and share anything that you've learned from this conversation today, or any comments you want to make. Prasanna, the floor is yours. You can unmute by clicking the mute icon on the bottom right corner of your screen.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Jai Jinendra to all. Uh, there was some Bluetooth connectivity issue. Uh, I missed that you called my name. Hi, I'm Prasanna. I'm in Maharashtra, and I we have a family trust, and we run various colleges here, engineering, nursing, and all that sort. So when I do my day-to-day jobs, as a director or as a consultant here, what I feel most is I'm able to help my students or my faculties in their difficult times, whether maybe searching for a job or their day-to-day issues. So I'm feeling very proud that being here, I get this opportunity to help these students or other workers here. Now, I'm again a believer. I'm follower of Jain religion here. We also have a uh, terasser in our campus, and but before that, I wanted to check to uh, you know before going through this, I watched this TV show called The Universe. Many of you must have aware of. It is a around 11 seasons show on planets and the star systems, galaxies, and all. So I tried to match that with our religion, wherein uh, somewhere there should be some connection between the science and our religion. And then I found that whatever Jain religion teaches you, it's everything there. So once you look at your life as a third person, so you know that this is a temporary thing. Life is between this life is between your birth and death, so that you have to live, and you are very very tiny, and the smallest part of you is here. So in this life, if you are helping others, or uh, you allow others to help you, and this way, if you look at your life as a third person, it is very calm life. And that's what I think my attitude towards in last 10 15 years, my attitude towards life is. So the the science stuff plus Jain religion, some readings from Jain religion, as a previous speaker uh, uh, explained about the Tattvar Sutra. So yes, I mean, if you match this, you tend to look at the life as a third person, and it makes your life easy. Plus, you don't get those. You already have then compassion, empathy towards others. It makes your life, uh, you know, very enjoyable. And we know we are bound by karma. So yes, I think that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for sharing that. And yeah, in Jainism, we say that there's a separation of the physical body and soul, right? And so when things that happen to us in the physical sense, looking at it in such a perspective can help for sure. So thank you, Prasanna. I do want to pass the mic to Anuj. Anuj, welcome to the stage. If you want to introduce yourself and share anything you've gained from this conversation, or just any comments in general.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for a great discussion today. I just had a question that I wanted to pose to the team. So I've been keeping a gratitude journal for the past 3 or 4 months, and I find that it's really helped me kind of stabilize, especially when I'm feeling down. But I find that there are days when I genuinely feel grateful for the things that I'm writing down. Things like if I have a great day, if I have a great experience, then I'll actually feel a lot of gratitude. There are other days when I have a pretty unspectacular day, and I find it really hard to think of things that I'm grateful for, and I end up kind of just almost like BSing it, right? Like I'll just look around my apartment and pick a random object and just say I'm grateful for it, but it doesn't feel really authentic. And I was just curious if anyone else had that experience, or how to kind of overcome that and really feel grateful even when, ostensibly there's nothing to really feel grateful for. At least that's the way our brains have been programmed, and how to break free from that.
Anuj, I think what you could do at that moment would be, maybe think about the past 2 days or the past 3 days or something bigger in life. Just something bigger that you are grateful for. It may not be something that has happened today. It could be something that has happened in the past. And it could just, again, bring you back to that energy that you want to get into. And maybe once you are kind of getting there, then you could focus on just the fact that you are sitting on a chair. You have a bed to sleep on. You're living in New York City, or wherever you're living. Just the basics, like you today. There are so many, and you have a phone. You have internet connectivity. You can log on to YouTube, Netflix, and divert your mind onto whatever you want right now. There's nothing stopping you. So maybe this could help, and I don't know. Let me know if it does.
Yeah, that's good insight. Thank you. I think I was taking it too literally, like 3 good things that happened to me today. But I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. And I want to add to that, Anuj, for me, what I'm hearing is that you have the self-awareness that sometimes you're relating to gratitude again from the mind rather than from the heart. I heard you say a little bit earlier that you just end up looking around the room and BS in it, and you use the word think. And perhaps maybe just in that moment, pause and don't continue looking at it through the mind, but really bring yourself back into your heart and really like let your heart tell you what is it grateful for, and give yourself permission to not be grateful in that moment if you're not. That can also alleviate that pressure that we put on ourselves, and that in itself opens up a lot more gratitude sometimes. Um, and I do want to say it's been really amazing to be here with you all today. Thank you so much, Sunny, Sahil, for the invitation. Yashika, it's been lovely to be here with you and with everyone. I'm sorry I will have to drop off in a couple of minutes, so I just wanted to make sure to say thank you to everyone for being here today. And if there are any questions that you want to ask me, you can always find me and feel free to communicate with me.
Absolutely. And Qatar, if you wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about, the organization that you founded and how people can get more resources, please feel.
Oh, thank you, Sunny. Sure. So my organization is called Conscious Togetherness. And the idea is really to work with people on 3 pillars, which are well-being, inner power, and positive impact. And all of my work bridges into creating more harmony and unity in the world, and doing it from a space of starting with ourselves, because we can only have positive outer impact to the extent that we are truly being ourselves in a space of gratitude, in a space of internal power. Um, and so all of my work, whether it's with leadership teams or whether it's with individuals, bridges on creating life from those 3 pillars. And you can find me on all social media outlets, on Instagram, Facebook, my website. And I think there's also my Instagram connected to, I'm still new to, I forget what this is called, Clubhouse. I'm new to Clubhouse, but you can find my Instagram on there. Thank you so much, Sunny.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Qatar, Yashika, and Sahil. What an event, and just for those in the audience, this is something that we I kind of brought up the idea very last minute to Sahil about having this room. And despite that, they put so much time and effort into planning this event. We actually had a meeting before the actual event itself to kind of gather our thoughts and create like an agenda. So just incredibly grateful for all the work that y'all put into this event. And really, that's what helps us have such high quality events. I think the fact that Sahil did a gratitude meditation with music in the background lets me know that I don't think these kind of rooms are happening on Clubhouse often. So just really grateful for that. I do want to plug in next Saturday we have a incredible event, and there's actually a book that's by Robin Sharma, and it's called "The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari." And I know it's a very catchy title, and actually that's one of the reasons why we did try to pick that. But from this book, I think it's something that's very, like, I guess, interconnected with our conversation today, as well as conversations that we have in life in general. And next Saturday, we're going to have our first book meetup where we're going to talk about the book, some of our takeaways, and some discussions. And if you're able to read it in time, definitely join us. And even if you don't read it, please feel free to join us anyway. It's gonna be quite a conversation. So that'll be next Saturday. And if you're not connected with the Global Jane Network, whether you're Jane or not, we welcome everyone to be a part of this. We have weekly events right now. So in the last few months, we've had 2 events a week. So we're very active, and we're continuing to grow as well. So definitely follow us and be a part of our social media pages. And we're also trying to find ways to connect outside of Clubhouse as well. So we're on, if you're on WhatsApp, we are definitely there on Telegram and LinkedIn as well. So we're trying to find ways that we can connect outside of Clubhouse as well. So definitely just want to plug that in there. And finally, just want to thank everyone again. With that being said, if I'll make like a final call. So if anyone has any comments or thoughts, please feel free to join us. If not, we'll go ahead and make plans to close out the room. All right, great. So Sahil, I think we should be good. We'll go ahead and close this room out. Thank you all again, and we hope to see you next Saturday. With that, Jay Janindra, and thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, Sahil. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. It's been a great 1 hour that we've spent together.
All right. Thanks a lot. Awesome day. Everybody, good night on that side of the world, and good morning, good afternoon on this side. Hope to meet some of you at some point.